Drew, welcome to the Awesome Dad Show. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you reaching out to me and getting me involved in this. And I've read up on what you're doing and checked out a couple of the other podcasts. And I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm a dad of three, and this should be really good.
Yeah, I think so. And you've got a nice range of kids too, one from 8 months to 10 years. So let me start before we get into all the meat and potatoes. Lockdown. We're all locked down. We're not going out. We're not playing sports. We're not going to the park. We're not going to events. How you guys been holding up?
Um, we're relying a little bit on our experiences before. I lived in Europe. Me and my family, we were there for 12 years, and we would only have one car, and a lot kind of revolved around my day, and not knowing and having those relationships with the communities and cities that I was in. It caused us to really be tight knit a little bit, and we spent a lot of time in the house, which isn't great, but it's a little bit normal. Now this is, to the extreme right now,
Right.
but I think we take a step back and we're kind of like, oh, we've done this before in instances. We've done this. And no, I mean, we're just having a good time. We're not thinking anything else of it. Just enjoying each other. It gives me more time with them, which I appreciate, because the speed of life and your job and everything else that's going on, it just really takes away from your family at times, and it pulls you in so many different directions. And right now I just get to be centered right here in the middle of my family, and I appreciate every day.
Do you almost find that to be more difficult sometimes because you're working, you're upstairs, you're watching tape and you're working with the other coaches and kids, but then your youngest or your younger kids are knocking on the door and they want daddy to play with them. Does that ever come up? Because that's been difficult for me personally.
Yeah, no, it comes up all the time, and it's tough, but I don't harp on it too much. Like I try I try to always do something, accomplish something of my work, and then get out of it.
Yeah.
So if I get out of a meeting, I don't want to just jump right to the next thing, even though I may have to do the next thing. But I try to at least go see what's going on downstairs, so I'm not in this just like isolated world. Because it's been trial and error. So I've had the times where I've just been isolated for 3-4 hours, and I'm knuckling down and I'm getting work done, and it just didn't feel good. So
Yeah.
now it's like, all right, I'm gonna hop out this meeting. I know I've been on for an hour. What's going on downstairs? Let me check in on the kids and spend some time with them. Then I'll come back to something. So I'm trying to balance it out like that. But it's not easy when you got three kids running around and you just want to check in on your wife sometimes and make sure she's okay down there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Because
been
I
really,
know they're a handful.
yeah, it's been challenging for us because in our household, I'm the primary breadwinner, right? So I'm working all the time. I'm doing that. And my wife is always home with the kids, basically, right? 4-year-old and 1-year-old. And historically she'd be okay with that, right? Because during the middle of the day when she's feeling stressed out, she'd say, okay, I'm going to take the kids. We're going to go to the park. We're going to want to play date. We're going to meet up with some other moms. But when you're stuck at home all day with a 4-year-old, they kind of make you pull your hair out a little bit. So I got to give a lot of props to all the moms out there. Is there anything you're doing to be extra supportive of your wife during this time?
I'm just trying to be responsible. I think that's the the biggest thing I can do is just show her that, like, hey, I got it. I can do it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I got this. Go ahead, do something that you need to do, or just rest. I try to just find a way to always do that. But like you said, the rug's been snatched underneath them too. The moms can't move, even if they were a full-time mom or stay-at-home mom, whichever you choose to call it. They always kind of had maybe an out. Maybe the
Yeah.
kids go to school for a little bit or daycare, but they don't have an out anymore. So they have to be they're being locked in for however many hours your kids stay up during the day. So it's difficult, but we're trying to balance it out.
Yeah, I definitely try to put things in perspective. You know, we've got a roof over our head, we got food on the table, like we are okay. There's other places in the world or even in the country that are going through a much more difficult time than we are in our little bubble. But it's nevertheless, I think, whenever you're going through major changes like this, um, it's tough. It's challenging. Like you said, you get the rug yanked out from under you. Another challenge that I think you have really even a bit more so than I do is you've got a very wide range of kids, right? Because you only have so much time now, right? But you know, how do you interact with a 10-year-old at the same time as an 8-month-old? How do you balance that out?
That's tough. That's tough. The 10-year-old is getting more independent, and then you have the 8 month who's very, very dependent. It's you and her. She can't do
Yeah.
anything without you. But
Do you
I
get
I
your
try to.
eldest? I didn't mean to cut you off. Do you get your eldest like involved in the parenting process at all? Like, hey,
Uh,
help us get food and all that?
she's awesome at it. I mean, she's the big sister, but she's a protege of my wife. Just when it comes to just her balancing act, the way she can multitask already and handle responsibilities is remarkable. So she does a lot to help us around the house, and you know it helps. And when it comes to just spending time with her, I just try to figure out what she likes. She's into Barbies, or she wants to show me some Roblox on YouTube. Uh, and then I just try to involve her in things that I do. I like to get in the kitchen, so I like to cook. Hey, will you come in here and just cook with me? Just spend time with me. I just think it's just time, just spending time, no matter what it is, what you may do, on whether it's super fun or maybe even corny to them. But just spend time. It helps. It goes a long way.
Yeah, and that's, I think, the most important thing that we can be doing right now, because that's what their kids really need, right? They don't want all the distractions. It's really easy to fall in that trap of, I don't really feel like playing the Barbies anymore. Let's just put on the TV and let's watch the TV a lot. And I know for me, this is something I've been struggling with personally, is screen time throughout this pandemic is way up, and I try to fight that back, but it's really tough because there's only so many times you can do the same puzzle before you just want to lose your mind, right?
Right. Screen time is a big issue. We've kind of, they're already on the screen for school every day. My 10-year-old and the 6-year-old, so they're spending 3 to 4 hours already
Yeah.
on the screen. Now, it may not be of their choice, but it's still, not great for them. So we've pushed it back to a time like, hey, you won't after class. We understand that's mandatory, but you're not just going to hop on the electronics.
Yeah.
You got to figure something else out. Figure out something about yourself that you like. We're blessed. They have a lot of toys and options to choose from. So choose one of those different options, and then hopefully, when it gets a little bit nicer and starts to warm up here in Akron, Ohio, we'll be able to use outside. And whenever we're able to use outdoors, it's been really great. I mean, we started off just taking walks as a family. It was nice. Hey, throw the jackets on, we'd take a walk, dusted off the bikes, got the bikes prepped up and prepared. Now we're off on our bikes.
What
We
about
made
basketball? Do your kids play basketball at all? They're big into basketball? Obviously,
my
that's a big
son.
part of your life. So
Right, my son is totally into the game. That is scary. My daughter, I, she I think she could do it, but I don't think she really wants to. She'll mess around with it, um, and she'll do sports a little bit. I believe she's a pretty good athlete, but if she doesn't really carry that much interest in it. She'll dibble and dabble, and she wants to get on to the next thing. Like, oh, that was fun. I enjoyed it for a season, but I I don't want to go back. I'll try something different, and that's just who she is, and I'm okay with that.
yeah, that's smart. That's the way to be. When I spoke to Jordan Palmer, he's just like, every kid's different. So I want to help my kid find what they're great at and what they love faster than everyone else. So trying to get her these different experiences is really important. when we look at your son, your 6-year-old, one of the goals I think that we have as fathers is we want our kids to be better than us, right? But at the same time, you don't want to push them too hard. How do you manage pushing your son to be his best self while also making sure that you're not pushing him to the point where it's not fun anymore?
Right. Well, I haven't really pushed him. I've stayed away from that. I haven't coached him.
Mm.
The most I've coached him is in a basketball camp, where he probably wasn't even supposed to be there. The only reason he was there is because I was a counselor. He was 4 and 5 years old, and the other kids were 8 and 9. But so it was more me kind of babysitting him a little bit through it. But I haven't really pushed him. I throw little gems out there like, hey, if you want to be good at something, you really have to practice and work hard, because he sees a lot of early success.
Yeah.
In soccer, he's pretty good, and he sees it like, hey, I'm scoring the goals and I'm doing everything. So I have to try to tell him and mess with his mind a little bit, like, yeah, that's great, but you should always continue to practice no matter what your results are. But I don't want to force anything on him. I want to, like you said, I want to help him, but I want him to get to a point where he wants it. I think when he wants it, then I can push until he kind of shows that, hey, I want this, or something clicks. Then I'll just continue to, place him in situations that are good for him. I'll always continue to do that, and hopefully, maybe a seed is planted and he really wants to attack it and go at it, which I already believe he does.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's easy, I think, particularly for someone in your family, they're surrounded by all this greatness, professionals and limelight to an extent, and some unique access that maybe other kids aren't, not to mention genetics and natural ability. Like, I think that's something that kids can really get lean on maybe too heavily. Say, well, I'm faster and I'm stronger than all these other kids. I'm good. I don't need to work as hard. But at a certain point, like, to be the best, or to be great, to make it to the NBA or to the, these professional leagues, it's all about work ethic, and again, I think that in a lot of cases, when these kids are surrounded with greatness, they almost take it for granted in a way. Like, they don't realize how much work goes into being great. Have you ever, kind of surrounded him with other great athletes, and they can kind of put that in perspective for your kids? Is that ever something you've done?
No, we haven't got to that point. He's seen a lot, and even my daughter, I mean, she's seen a lot. And like I said, they were always at my game, so they've seen things at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it the NBA level? Is it? No, it's not. But in his eyes, we were great.
Yeah.
you know,
Well, it's
we
pretty
were,
pretty freaking good to play, professional basketball at any level, to get paid to do what you love. That's,
right.
that's the dream.
Yeah,
Right.
so I don't know if he's seen it any other way, but he was just excited to watch it. Um, and that's the biggest thing that I look forward to, is that he was excited to be at the games. He was excited to see me play. I don't know if I'm still his favorite player or not. I was at some point. um, but I haven't surrounded him with, friends that I know that have done it at a high level. I think, that at some point that may come just from, his experiences. But once again, I think it's something that I want him to kind of be ready to seek out. I want him to want that type of information, and kind of get that feel. I'll expose it to him maybe once or twice. I'm not against that, to see his reaction and see what it does to him, how he feels about it. And same with my daughter, how she feels about it. I'll do those same things. I want to put them, like I said, give them those experiences that can create that kind of feel that, oh man, I really
Inspiration,
feel
right?
that. Yeah, I was inspired.
Yeah.
And if it clicks, then it's something that you kind of start to pursue. But I don't know right now. I
Yeah.
don't.
Right now we're just trying to get the rims put back on the hoops at the local park, right? That's kind of what we're focusing on. So is a coach, right? Let's talk about you for a minute, right? Because one of the things that's really important for fathers, and this can get lost when you become a dad, is you stop doing the things that you love, right? Like shooting hoops and stuff like that, getting outside, getting active, burning calories. Um, what vision do you see for the future for your future in basketball? Like, do you think that we're going to get back to a point where we can actually play? And like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think we'll get back to a point where we can actually play. When I'm not so sure
Yeah.
certain at all. I don't know. I know they're trying things, and I think the idea that they have of kind of, you know keeping groups together. I think that's the first idea. I think they figured that part out. Now there's a few more things to figure out. Like what if someone does, you know, become
Test positive or something.
be a test
Yeah.
positive? What happens then? Do
Yeah.
we just remove that player? Do we remove that team? Um, and those are things that they probably feel like, hey, it's going to happen at some point, but they haven't figured out the solution for that. And they just have some more questions to answer. And I think, given some time, and it may take a month or a couple more months, but you just need time. That's all we can ask for at this point, is just to take our time and figure it out. We just need more time. People want to rush and get things back, but it's just going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult to get things back to where everyone feels like, this is the norm, or this is what it used to be.
Yeah.
And granted, I don't even know if it's going to be what it used to be. So,
Yeah, not for a while. I mean, I think it is good to see, the German soccer league is starting to play again. Because I mean, gosh, I used to watch a lot of ESPN, and now it's, I can only watch so many 2005 World Series replays before I'm like, I need something new and something fresh. But man, it's crazy time. I want to talk a little bit about having a daughter, Drew. You know, One of the things, obviously we're men. What was it like for you when you had your daughter? Did it change your perspective on the world and relationships at all?
man, when I had my daughter, it frightened me a little bit, because, it's different. It's
Yeah.
different. The world is just different for girls, for women. You know, they have to deal with more different issues than a guy, and it is the way it is. And I want to just be there to protect her
Mm.
from it all, but I know that's not possible either. So how do you best suit your daughter for all the you know situations she may be faced with? And that's me thinking about the scary things that can happen. Then you think about your pocketbook. One day I got to pay for two weddings, maybe, possibly. No, but I just
I think it's also tough for guys, because I've never been a girl. I've never really experienced those same, issues of like walking down the hallway at school and someone, some guy says something to you. I've never had to deal with that personally, right? I mean, anyone on social media is going to get some hate, but for girls, I mean, like, you can get DMs some really atrocious stuff all the time. Not that I don't get random DMs,
mhm.
but it's kind of a weird. It was kind of a tough feeling for me. I mean, the way I attack is I just try to make my daughter as strong as possible and give her the confidence. Wrestling around with her and throwing her around. Do you roughhouse with her at all, or do you get real competitive with her?
Yeah, she has a little bit of competitiveness. We wrestle around. She's a butterfly, though. She's a butterfly. She's you know I don't know how she'll react in a situation. Will I want her to be equipped? Of course, but hopefully she never has to face anything like that. The biggest thing that I want for her is, I just want to be able to talk to her. I want her
Yeah.
to be able to understand that she can talk to me without judgment. That, yeah, there's things that that I'm going to take. And as a young kid, there may be responsibilities that or consequences to your actions. But I just want her to be able to talk to me as she's 10 now, and she goes through her teen years and adulthood, to free of judgment, because I think she'll be faced with so many difficult decisions, and I want her to be able to navigate it and figure it out, and me just to be maybe a voice of reason, maybe a balance, and just someone that she can confide in and listen to. I don't even want to be the person that has all the answers, because I don't.
Yeah.
I don't, and I won't. But we can figure it out together.
Yeah, be there to listen.
Right.
Yeah, that's huge.
I've
I
seen
think
that.
that
I was going to say I've seen that relationship with my wife and her father, and it was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. And no, so when I think about my role as a dad, if I can have anywhere close to the relationship they have, I'll be happy.
yeah, just be there. And like you said, no judgment. It's so easy as parents just get frustrated when you see your kids make a mistake. You're like, I told you not to make this mistake. I knew it was coming and you made it anyway. But it's, I think, I get asked, probably the most frequent question I get asked is, what's the most important feature of a great father? And for me, I think it's patience. It's all about patience, because they're just going to push you and push you and push you. They're going to make mistakes, and you just want what's best for them. But you gotta be open to listen and to hear them. I think that's a really important thing that can be hard for fathers, especially because we always want to coach and we want to fix everything. But sometimes you just gotta listen and let them go through the challenges. So Drew, before we get into the Actadad rapid fire, world famous rapid fire, where can anyone find out more about you and what you're doing?
Well, I somewhat put my life on social media. I'm not going to give you every day, hour by hour updates. So my page or timeline can get a little bit boring. If you check my Twitter feed, it's going to be a lot of Cleveland State basketball.
Slam dunks, lots of dunks.
Right. So I'm private, but I do give glimpses into my life a little bit. I don't doctor anything up. I'm not a guy that's going to send out a bunch of edits of what happened. When you see me post a picture, it was real life. When you see me post a video, it happened. I'm probably excited about it, and so other than that, you might just have to you might have to get me one-on-one to find out what everything that's going on. No different than the podcast today, because then I'll spill the beans. But as far as social media, if you want to follow me and just check on me and send me a message, it's both platforms, Twitter and Instagram, Dru on Demand, for both of those. Dru on Demand.
Drew on Demand. Lots of slam dunks on Twitter. So if you're into slam dunks, that's the place to be.
I've been posting the top 10.
There you go. Do you think that the slam dunk contest is rigged? Because I don't know, man. I've seen some pretty sick dunks that aren't getting that credit, but I mean, that might be another topic for another day.
Yeah, I don't think it's rigged. I think, they're some guys got exhausted up there judging the dunks, and they just wanted it to be over with. But
yeah, give that man his trophy, man. Jumping over the mascot, it's crazy. All right, cool. Drew, so let's get into the rapid fire here. What's your favorite story to tell your kids?
My favorite story to tell my kids, like a book story, or one of my
could be maybe something happened to you, or a book, whatever you like.
Well, if I'm reading a book, I love Dr. Seuss books, because I like to get in those rhymes and riddles and tongue twisters. So those are my books, always reading to the kids. If I'm telling them a story, I'm probably telling them about how I had to walk to work every day in Poland. And this is really true. But, I just want to let them know that, you know, things weren't always easy. I'll tell them that story. One more story I may tell them. That's probably it. I'm not a huge storyteller, but I do like to get into books and read and try to read each character in different voices. So I try to be entertaining when I do that.
Love that. Love that. Dru, what's your favorite city to visit?
My favorite city to visit. Wow, that's a tough one. Jeez. I don't necessarily have a favorite. You know, I just I enjoy being able to get that time away from the kids
Yeah.
with my wife, and we were fortunate to be able to usually take a vacation and just unwind, and that can be anywhere. You know, that can be anywhere. I like it to be somewhere warm and somewhere with water. So
Yep.
those are my go-tos. But I like to switch it up. I don't like to always go to that same place twice. I like to see something different. But anytime I could get away with her is a good deal.
Yeah. It's important not to, it's important to make sure you continue to foster that relationship too, because if you don't pay attention to each other, you can lose it. So that's really good. Great. Pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
Pineapple on pizza?
Yeah.
I'm for it.
Okay. All in. Good deal. Who's going to win a one-on-one, MJ or LeBron? Who's winning?
LeBron.
Okay.
I'm biased, and that is what it is.
It's fair enough. I mean, you can't go wrong there. Although I think Jordan might that could be a heated debate, which hopefully ESPN, no more replays. Give us an MJ LeBron debate. That's what I want to see. And a final question here. If you had a billboard that could reach millions and millions of fathers, what are you going to put on that billboard, Dru?
Value the time you spend
Love that.
with your children. Value the time you spend with them, because you don't know when it's going to be. I mean, this is explaining it, but you just don't know when it's going to be taken away, and you know, so make it count when you can, and you know, put your work up if you don't need to do the extra. I know everyone wants to push and succeed, but is that really success? You know, when you're taken away from your family and your kids, is it really the success you're longing for? So
Yeah. Wise words. I definitely don't want to look back and regret missing out on that time. So I appreciate that, Dru. Thank you very much.
thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep. It's been a pleasure. And I look forward to watching your story unfold.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me today.